I literally hate my teammates. I'm tired of dealing with people who are jerks online that I don't want to play with. Get me out of this good teammate, bad teammate, RNG simulator. Give me solo queue now. So many people have been saying, or in many other ways, communicating the same idea. Solo queue has been talked about since Apex's release with only 3-man parties. And today we're going to be tackling the conversation in this video on why solo queue has not been added, what will happen if it is added, and 5 things I want you all to consider that may not support it in this game. Now, a lot of people think solo queue is like the answer to all of your problems in life. Like your student loans will get paid, you know, your girl that you've had a crush on for 5 years will finally call you back. All of these things will happen just if solo queue gets put into the game. But it comes with its own difficult set of realistic things to consider, and I think that's why Apex Legends and Respawn have not moved on it yet, but they may, and there has been a huge outcry for it. I mean, I put up a conversation on my community section in my YouTube channel just this afternoon, and in about 3 to 4 hours, I've had over 10,000 votes on whether it should go in, and over 65% of them say to add not only solos but duos as well. So we'll talk about why we may not want to add solo queue in Apex Legends in the later part of the video, but right now let's talk about why do we want to add it. Why are people calling for this mode? Why does it feel like it's the next big thing that people really want Apex Legends to do? Honestly, I think it's because people are really tired of losing. And it's not just losing, it's just having a bad experience. If you have other people on the internet that you're not signing up to play with, you got an RNG factor of who you get. Sometimes you're gonna get the dope guy, you're gonna get the legend, and he's gonna be super nice. He's gonna ask you about your family. He's gonna tell you that you're the greatest player ever, even if you suck. He's gonna carry you to a 28 win kill victory. However, you're also gonna get that guy on the opposite side of the spectrum. Now, although that guy that carries you, that you have this great memorable moment, maybe you don't do much, but you get the last kill, you feel really involved, and you have a great win, means something to you. The guy at the other side, the one who makes you feel toxic, the one who just yells at you, says you're stupid, and you feel like I never would ever hang out with this person in my entire life if it wasn't for this game. That's the kind of guy that makes you want to stop playing. 2 main things and reasons why I like solo queuing personally. 1, I really like testing my own experience, and I think a lot of people like that too. If I'm solo queuing, I know whether I was the best guy, the 30th guy, the second guy, or the first guy in the lobby in terms of skill, and I like being able to measure myself and my success. I mean, that's a really cool thing in life to do, so I get that reason, and I truly appreciate it. Also, I think there's this level of responsibility, especially when a game has talking mics, that you could feel like you owe your teammates something, whether you don't really want to talk or you don't really want to ping things. You just want to go out and play. Maybe you've had a rough night, rough day, and you just want to like be in the motions of it, and your teammates are being toxic or making you communicate or typing at you. It could be like, I didn't really want to do this, I kind of just wanted to play the game, you know what I mean? I like to believe that there may be an RPG element to all of us, where we do like our solo experience, whether it's in life, whether it's in gaming, and being denied that feels like something might be missing. We don't always want to choose into it, but maybe there's a day, and that option is really helpful for players. So they're not saying take away this mode, they're just saying give it to me as an option. It's fair, it's understandable, and I can see where people are coming from. Now, as it stands, Apex Legends is a super successful game. 50 million players have played this game in its first month. It is absolutely dominating. It has picked up streams, and video content creators and people everywhere involved in this game have fallen in love with it. But it doesn't have solos, and a lot of these things in the game are inherent to group play. So adding solos, if that becomes an introductory experience for new players who jump on, maybe that's good, maybe it's not. At the end of the day, we don't have any information as to whether solos would attract the same amount of players, whether people would play it as long, whether they would enjoy some of the unique factors about it, or whether they just write it off as another BR. I think the team play is actually what makes Apex Legends so unique. So let's get into 4 of the reasons, with that as an overarching idea as to why Apex Legends may not be adding solo queue. The first thing is class diversity. Class diversity is very important in a game like Apex Legends because you get to see all of the different legends at work. Imagine never playing against a Pathfinder again. Imagine never running across a Gibraltar. I mean, ever. I mean, what would it be like if you never saw another Caustic in any of your games? I mean, that would actually be awesome. And the only legend in your lobby and that you were playing was a Lifeline, or a Wraith, or the only top tier legend that everyone knows can win a 1v1 more easily and more efficiently than any other legend. It's the sad truth, but if some legend becomes clearly better than others, and I think Lifeline and that passive just healing faster, I mean, that's such a big advantage if you're in a 1v1, a solo player scenario, that we just see a lot of those if you wanted to win. If you wanted to just play, sure, you could pick anything, but if you want to win and be competitive, which most players do in competitive multiplayer online games, then you would see a lot of those champions, or those legends, excuse me, and you just wouldn't get the same diversity that is so great about Apex. Now, the second reason we may not see solo queue in Apex Legends is because this game was built from the ground up to be a team-based game. I mean, think about it. You land in with your squad, they go down, you run away, and you wait till they're finished. You come back about a minute later and grab their banners, respawn them, and now you're back in the game. That's a pretty big part of Apex Legends, and that has no purpose in solo queue. If you die, you just die. Respawns all over the map. No need, they'd just be out of the game. I mean, think of this amazing ping system that everyone is talking about, that other developers are already using in their own games because it's so good and intuitive. How awesome is that to be able to ping an enemy to yourself, and now it has no purpose? Obviously, I'm just joking, right? I mean, the point is you don't need those things in solo queue, but that's kind of what made Apex Legends so special. It's what actually attracts a lot of players because they're like, whoa, this system is crazy. I can respawn my teammates. That's awesome. Those are core components to differentiate Apex Legends from the pack, and in solo queue, you don't have that. The most amazing moments where somebody can go through just hell and high water to respawn your teammates, get you back in, and ultimately win the game is such a cool thing that you would miss out on that experience entirely. And that's another reason to be careful, because I think that's a big selling point as to why Apex Legends should be the battle royale you play. So sure, lifelines all the time, maybe you're a lifeline main. I mean, no ping system, no respawn system, you don't care because you're not dying anyway. I could see it. But now let's talk about another reason why you may be wary about Apex Legends adding solo queue, and why maybe more difficult than you think. What about balancing? What happens is we get into this weird spot where Lifeline could be perfectly balanced for the normal game that they're going for, the squad-based gameplay that they intended from the ground up and built a lot of systems for. But then in solo queue, Lifeline could be busted. I mean, it could just be like the best champion by far, and people start crying for a nerf. Now, instead of having one population where you've been able to monitor not only the weapons, but the champion balance from the abilities to just how strong they are as far as their ultimates and what they contribute to the game, you now have to keep track of two different populations. Coming from a game like Smite, where you have people who play Joust, which is a 1v1, versus people who play Conquest, versus people who play Arena, so many different modes and so many different needs, you have to balance towards your main mode. And if you have a thing like solo queue where the main mode is more of the team-based game, solo queue might just turn into an absolutely difficult place to be because the balance is off. It's balanced for team play, and that's not what you're getting. And I think Respawn is very well aware of what would happen if they added solo queues. Not only would they have to deal with a separate population, a queue that would be splitting the player base and maybe becoming the majority player base when their game and what they want their game to be is not intended for that queue, but also the balancing quandary of what if something's really good in this mode and not good in this mode? How do we deal with that? Who do we prioritize? These are all questions that don't really benefit everyone, and they benefit one population and not the other. It creates a pretty tough situation, and I don't know if they want to get themselves into that yet. Now, another reason you may not want Apex Legends to actually put in solos is because squads retain much better than solos. For whatever reason, in Battle Royale games with hero shooter elements, squads statistically actually retain players more. For whatever reason, that queue, whether it's you're playing with friends more, it encourages you to play with friends more, encourages it to be more of a group dynamic. Maybe there are more challenges that you overcome and feel more rewarded for doing so. Seeing this in a game studio, being behind the scenes, having privy to some of these stats across the industry, these squad-based queues are actually more effective at keeping players playing longer, especially after they first download the game. Now, we may all have a lot of conjectures as to why, and I'm not going to give you the exact answer, but my feeling is that it just gives a depth to the game that cannot be had in solos. When you have 2 to 3 different people on your team each game, whether it's a 3 or 4 traditional squad type situation, it adds this layer of RNG to the RNG that's already addictive about battle royales. You never know what gun you're going to get, you never know who's going to land next to you, and now you don't know what your teammates are going to do and who they are. Adding that extra element, not only, yes, it makes, you can't decide and figure out whether it's just you who's being the one who's dominating or maybe your teammates are helping, but that's kind of the point. Sometimes you're having this great experience, you don't know what it is, and you get excited for the next one. I've had many games where I've won with randoms, and it's been really cool because I won with randoms. It's kind of hard for me to articulate this point, but let me try my best that I can. Have you ever gone to a great movie and been able to see it in opening night and had that kind of buzz about it, where everyone in the theater is laughing, crying, nervous at the same moments that you are, and it adds a layer to the film that you wouldn't have got if you watched at home? I mean, think of your best memories in life. Are they by yourself or are they with other people, your loved ones, your friends, having new experiences? Squads are the closest way to have a social component to gaming, and when you add a social component to almost anything, people get interested in it more. I mean, that's just us as humans. We are communal, we are social. We may be introverts, but it doesn't mean that we don't appreciate having experiences with and around others. And that's why squads are a really good way to keep people invested in the game and to encourage you to play with your friends and have those shared experiences that keep you coming back again and again. Now that's been pretty clear, but let's talk about the most important and the fifth reason why you may not want Apex Legends to actually add solo queue. And it's that isn't the game we all fell in love with. Apex Legends, when it was first released, acted like a storm that swept us all out to sea in the middle of the ocean. We had no help and no direction as to find our way back to shore or near our beds or near any semblance of food that was remotely healthy for us, and we literally stayed up all night playing this game with our closest friends or even by ourselves, grinding with randoms. But the experiences we had were amazing. That is with a 3-man crew. Noticing the ping system, the respawns, the dynamics between each of the legends all coordinating to give us a unique experience that we haven't had in a lot of battle royales. What attracted 10 million players and 2 million concurrents, which soon turned into 25 million players, and today to 50 million players in its first month, is a team-based game without solo queue. And this is important to realize. When sometimes you have something working, the best thing to do is just to go with it. I know as humans we can get unsettled, we can always have a different opinion, we can always want something a little more. It's hard to be grateful for the good things we have in our life. It's hard to recognize the loved ones you have every single day and every single moment. But guys, I mean, I've had a lot of moments in my life where it's just made me have a check in my reality and say, you know what, this thing is great as it is. And I think in the gaming industry, we can get better at that. Apex Legends isn't every single battle royale. It doesn't need to have a solo queue. It can exist as a 3-man game and still be fine. Now, I'm not against the solo queue, but I think that let's not jump the gun. If at a certain point we feel it's needed, let's look at it again. But right now, with the success this game is having, let's just be grateful that we've got another great game to spend our time on, that's fun to make videos about, that's fun to play, and can help us to engage with our friends that maybe we haven't seen or played games with in a while. And yeah, we wouldn't have to play with any toxic jerks anymore. We could play by ourselves. We wouldn't have to play with any noobs. We wouldn't have to teach anybody how to be better. We could just do our own thing. But unfortunately in life, you run across all types of people, and you eventually have to either connect with them or move out of the way. And sometimes that toxic person is the thing between you and a promotion. Sometimes that noob is somebody in your life that you care about, and you can't just let them fail and do your own thing. You want them to succeed, and you need to learn how to teach them. Listen guys, it's easy to kind of run away from bad people in hard situations, but I think there's something to learn here. And it may not be what you want to learn, it may not be why you want solos, but just if you can learn anything from this, or maybe this resonates with you or it doesn't. But I think that it's cool to step up to some of these challenges. Some of the most rewarding things in life are when somebody is an a-hole, but you get them to see a different way. Maybe you get them to apologize and actually end up getting the win. I've had moments where guys have been trash talking me and I ended up just treating them kindly, and we ended up making up and kind of winning the game and like feeling like, yo, I actually like you. You know, those are the moments where you really establish true friends and make friends that you never knew you were going to have. So at the end of the day, Apex Legends, solo queue or not, that's up to you all and Respawn, of course, but I'd love for you to leave your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like this video, please leave a like, and of course subscribe. That's the best way for me to know that you enjoy what you just heard, watched, and want me to keep making more of it. Thanks so much for listening, thanks so much for watching, and thanks so much for supporting. As always, my friends, remember to never give up, never stop gaming, and I'll see you all next time.